Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at this 2023 Chevrolet Camaro Convertible. This is the 2LT with the RS package. Huge shout out to Randy Marion Chevrolet for providing the sports car for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. So the Camaro that you see behind me is finished off in Summit White, and we'll go over the MSRP once we get this out on the road to see if that MSRP is justifiable for this 4-cylinder Camaro. So underneath the hood, this has the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. This model is paired with the 6-speed manual transmission, and this pumps out 275 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 3,300 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds with a top speed of 150 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 19 gallons. You'll expect to see around 19 miles per gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 110.7 inches. Its overall length is 188.3. It has a width of 74.7 and a height of 53.1 inches. And as we move on to the exterior styling now for this Camaro, let's start off with the Chevy bow tie badge right in the middle. The surround is finished off in chrome, and for the grille running around that, there's plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to that engine with the RS badge over on that driver's side. And this still has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. I love how sleek that housing is. Matches very nicely with the rest of the grille. And the Camaro is known for having basically that entire upper section separated from everything else. So there's a small lip just in front of that headlight because they have that sunken in design, but I think it gives it a really nice look. Now in the lower section, there's a lot more cutouts, same pattern in that mesh to provide even more cooling, and there's even functional air inlets on both sides to provide even more aerodynamics for this sports car. Now for the hood, there's actually some really nice bulges and crisp lines running down to the upper section of that grille to give it that sporty design. And from this lower angle, you can see just how cool that looks for this. There's also lower air dams there just to help improve with more aerodynamics. So as we work our way to the side with the RS package, this gets a set of 20-inch wheels finished off in a gloss black with that metal flake. Very nice 5-spoke design to them. You'll see the Camaro badge just behind that with all the colors. And this also has a set of gloss black for the side mirrors. And then this model is pretty much blacked out with the wheels, the mirrors, even black for the soft top. And as you can tell right now, with it going down, I think it has a good look either way, whether it's up or down. You're buying the convertible because you want to have that top-down experience. And as we finish up in the rear, we have the matte black for the trunk-mounted spoiler, which has a great design to it. This has a set of LED taillights with that dark housing, along with them having the 3D design, which is very iconic for the Camaro. The bow tie is right in the middle, along with the brake light there, and then the dual exhaust is on each side. This also has a backup camera, and then the RS badge is over on that driver's side. So with the exterior wrapped up, let's make our way to the trunk space. I can double tap the button on the key fob or use the hidden button that's just to the left side of the backup camera. So there is a button just up underneath. From there, we can open this up where as you can tell right now with the top down and then my stuff in the back, there is a divider right here. So when you do have the top down, you have to make sure that all of your items are on this side of this area because the top does take up that front portion of the trunk. But even with the top down, you can see with one bag, I could probably fit 2 more in there, just depending on the size. So you still get a good amount of space. And then with the top up, you can fold this portion down. And as you can tell, you have a lot more interior space. So it is pretty functional, even with the top down. That's just something to remember when you have it down, you have to have that divider in its place. So as we work our way to the interior now, you'll see this chrome button on the door handle. That's how you can lock and unlock this. And then for the interior, this has the gray moonstone, which is a very unique color combo with the exterior white. You'll notice too that's on the armrest along with all the stitching. And then for the window controls, this has 4 windows with only 2 buttons. So you just use these upper ones here to control whether you want the front windows or the back windows to go up or down. So pretty cool to see that. There's all the mirror adjustments along with the release, lock and unlock. This even has the Bose audio sound system. There's a trunk release and then a small amount of storage just behind that. And then as we move on to the interior, you can see more of that gray moonstone, and we'll make our way to the back seats now. So all I need to do is pull on that tab to push the backrest forwards. These seats are automatic. So from there, I already went ahead and moved that seat forwards to give me plenty of room for my feet. And so with the top down, of course, it's very easy to enter and exit. I'm 5'10", and you can tell on the passenger side, with that seat all the way back, there is no leg room. So you're not buying this for a full 4-seater, but there's also a little bit of storage right in the middle there. And you can get a good look with Camaro there. And then of course with the top down, there is plenty of visibility. And then as far as headroom goes with the top up, my head is up against the headliner here, but it's pretty soft being the soft top. So I have a little bit of give there to have my head. But like I mentioned earlier, you're not buying this for a full 4-seater. So you have extra backseat, basically interior storage, or you can use it for that 3rd or 4th person if you're going around town and you need that accessibility. So it does make it a lot more practical for this style of car. You'll notice too, there's a speaker on both sides, and that is pretty much all you get for the back seats. And then as we move on to the front seats, you can see the two-tone design that they have. Very nice to see that combo. This also has the all-weather floor mats with Camaro spelled out. Now, as far as this being a sports car, it's still pretty easy to enter and exit. You have to reach just a little bit out for that door. But as we move on to the steering wheel, it's completely covered in leather. More of that stitching running along the inside of it. And being the 6-speed manual with my foot on the brake and the clutch, that button is over on the right side, and we can bring this to life. And then you'll see for this gauge cluster, on the left side is the tach, on the right side is the miles per hour, and then the engine temperature and fuel level are up top with a small LCD screen just underneath that. To go through all of that info, we'll use these controls over on the right side, where you'll also notice Bluetooth and voice commands, and then volume for the radios in the lower section. So currently it's showing miles per hour. You can also look at trip A and trip B, along with your fuel information. There's oil life, even TPMS, and then a few other vitals that you can monitor, as well as average speed, even a timer too. And then you have a few more vitals here that you can go through. And if I scroll over to the left and go down to options, you can further go through some of the units and your info pages. You have a few other things that you can set up just as you'd like to see. So not a ton of info, but it gives you everything that you need. And then on this left side, you'll see the cruise control settings along with favorites for the audio as well. Now on this left side, there's a trip reset along with one air vent. And then you'll see we still have that cool design running around the gauge cluster with these notches on both sides, even some of that chrome trim just to give it a really cool look. And then right in the middle, we have the 8-inch touchscreen system. It's a little bit angled down, so as you can tell with the sun off in the distance there, it doesn't have any glare, so it keeps it well protected, especially on days like today and being a convertible when you have the top down. So currently you can see music along with phone. If I swipe over, there's some other icons here for your audio and your phone, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can even go into your climates as well. You have My Chevrolet. And then we have some shortcuts down below for the home icon. So just by pushing on that, we are back to here. We can quickly get into the climates, turn those on, and adjust all of those settings. So it's a really nice system to have. We have the fan speed down below as well, a physical button there too if you'd like to use that. But it's a really nice system to use. There's also another home dial. We have power and volume for the radio along with tuning and a back button. And then underneath that, this does have heated and ventilated seats, which is very cool to see. We have the temperature indicator. Just by twisting on the air vent, you can adjust that temperature for the dual zone. The power's right in the middle. You can sync these. You have where you'd like the air to go, fan speed like I just showed, even some defrosters too. So it's laid out very nicely just above both of those air vents. There's the hazard button down below, and then the 6-speed manual. So in order to put this into reverse, I'm gonna pull it all the way to the left and up. You will see the backup camera up here along with the guidelines, which you can turn on and off. You will also notice the R just disappeared there for the center gauge cluster. So that will appear just to show you that you are in reverse and not in first gear, which is also up and to the left. Now just behind that, there's traction control along with the different driving modes. So just by pushing on that toggle, you can see touring as well as sport. There's even a snow and ice. So you can configure this and put it in the mode that you need to drive in, of course. There's the electronic parking brake just behind that, along with a 12-volt, 2 cup holders. And then for this armrest, it has a little bit of space. There's some auxiliaries in the back, so you can charge electronics. It has a very odd design to it, but with the cup holders on that side, that is the design that you get. Now for the glove box, you have plenty of room for all that information. There's even some leather on the airbag cover there to give it a nice look. We'll take one last look at this interior. And then up top, there are a few call buttons along with the rear view mirror. And then we have the control to put up and down the convertible top. As we set off now behind the wheel for the convertible Camaro, this has a starting MSRP right around $32,000, and the model that we're in being the 2LT and having the RS package, this is closer to $37,000, $38,000. So it's a pretty expensive 4-cylinder for the Camaro, but if you want the sports car vibe, you want a sporty looking car, but you don't necessarily want all that horsepower, you just want a nice sporty car that you can drive, you have the convertible that you can put down as needed, and you also want to get the 6-speed manual. This is a pretty unique combo to see, especially with the color of the seats. Again, 4-cylinder with the 6-speed manual and a convertible. It's almost a unicorn spec, but if you want something like this, you can special order a car just like this. This car was special ordered, which is why it looks like this and has the combo that it does. So it's pretty cool to see that. So like I said, it is expensive for a 4-cylinder, but it's also very nice too, being pretty much fully loaded, even with the heated and ventilated seats. And with a 3-point turn, the clutch is actually pretty light. So it would make this a great daily driver. Maybe this is your first manual as well. Getting a 2-liter 4-cylinder with the manual, clutch pedal is going to be very easy to use. Shifter is also pretty good feeling. You can hear that turbo a little bit too. So it definitely has a good feel to it. This would be very, very easy to daily drive if you are a 3 pedals kind of person. It's easy to rev match for the downshifts if you need to. Pedal box is pretty nice. I have a size 10 shoe and I don't have any issues with gas, brake, or the clutch there, of course. So for just under basically $40,000, it's expensive when you could get a V6 that's a little bit more basic. So you may not have as many features as this, but again, it goes to your personal preference, either what you want to spend for a car or the engine that you're looking to get. And with this interior, everything is super nice. So I can see the price being justifiable because of some of the options that you get, especially the exterior styling. As far as paying that for a 4-cylinder turbo, not my style. I would definitely want more power, but let's give it some gas here from 2nd gear. And I mean, it gets up and moves. It's not the fastest car, of course. You can get a V6, you can get a V8 too with so much more, even almost double the horsepower of this car. But again, if that horsepower is not for you, this is a perfectly fine car. And it's still going to have some sporty characteristics to it, being a Camaro, of course. So going around some of those turns, I mean, it handles well. It's a sporty-ish car. It may not have all the sport-tuned suspension to it, but it'll still put a smile on your face. And like I mentioned, I don't think it's underpowered by any means. It's a fun car, especially if maybe this is your first car as well. I think it has a good amount of power for you to get into that sporty vibe and kind of get into that sports car theme. But with this angle here, you can see what it's like to be behind the wheel for this. And even with the soft top having the convertible, it's pretty quiet. I haven't been out on the highway, of course, but going the speeds that I've been on these back roads, it's actually a really smooth, comfortable driving car, even with the convertible. Now, while we are going just under 30 miles an hour, we can actually start the top-down process as we come up to this light here, or stop sign. So you can still do this while moving, which is nice to see. And we'll let it finish here. Put the windows up too, so that way that can just help with some audio purposes. And of course, you're going to hear some wind noise. Even with the windows down, you're going to get that crosswind going. And that's to be expected. You're buying this because you want that top-down experience, you want the convertible, and you can just enjoy the weather just like we are doing today. It's a beautiful day to have the top down. And we'll just take another look at this interior. Very, very nice. So for almost $40,000, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it's a lot of money for especially a turbo 4-cylinder. But if you want a nicer model for the 4-cylinder, you want some of these creature comforts, different trim packages, things like that, you'll spend a little bit more to get some of those features if the engine is not something that you are interested in, you know, having more power, things like that. So I think it's justifiable, especially the convertible adds more to it compared to the coupe, so you're gonna spend more money just to get the convertible as well. And so if this is something for you, I think it's a good option for the money. And with one last minor acceleration, here we go. You can hear that turbo a little bit when you let off. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for the walk around review and test drive for the all new 2023 Chevrolet Camaro Convertible. Once again, huge shout out to Randy Marion Chevrolet for providing this sports car for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description, and give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.